that I've heard are the most difficult. I end up having a great relationship with. People say, "What's the secret?" And usually I just say kindness, I think. That's all I really thought about. But yeah, I definitely, I think when emotion is involved and someone has a personal stake in things, acknowledging that, validating both sides of the issue, and then bringing everyone together is something I do a lot in my job and was trained to do. So I'm definitely comfortable doing that.
Okay.
Of course, this also involves your life experience, but broaden it out a little.
Sure.
Based on your life experience and your understanding of the mission of this commission, if you had the opportunity to set one goal or major program for the Human Rights Commission, what would it be?
I think focusing I would have to begin with really finding out from the community what is really seen as a need. I wouldn't want to proceed too quickly without at least having an opportunity for that input in some way. But if this was something that there was agreement on, I would be pretty passionate about implementing some sort of program or protocol for residents and especially new residents to be introduced to the city and the community, and then at the same time having some really strong neighborhood bonding opportunities available. I know, having moved to Maplewood with young kids, I really had to do a lot of my own searching to find out about the community center and about programs, and there is so much that Maplewood has to offer, but making it a little bit easier for people to know that right away when they move here, so you really can have a sense of belonging right away and find your place. So that would be something I would think is an important thing to do right away. And as far as a strong sense of community, I think neighborhood watches can be great for that. They can turn into bigger or smaller depending on the neighborhood, but ones that are really invested in each other, and it's sort of a support for each neighborhood, and then some sort of liaison and connection to the city government helps relay information to all of those communities too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any follow-up questions? Do you have any questions you'd like to ask of us?
I guess I just wonder if you do know any more details about resources that will be allocated to the commission, what they'll have to work with, if any.
It'd be less than $1 million.
Yes, it'd be somewhat less than $1 million.
Yeah.
There will be a staff member that will be assigned to the commission. Initially, that'll be Ms. Guilfoyle.
Okay.
And then, we don't put a lot of direct funding typically into the current commissions that we have. Mm-hmm. And so I don't believe that anyone's foreseeing that, this is going to be like a department of the city.
Sure.
It's going to be an advisory group to help us out. But I think some of the funding are going to be tied to a couple things. One is whether the city has any money, and two is what it is that the commission gets together wants to focus on, and the type of things that the council would then think would be important resources that we provide in order for you to do what it is that you feel you need to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm not seeing a large basket of money sitting out there, but if it becomes obvious that this commission is something that we view as very valuable, we'll be willing to invest more.
Mm-hmm. Neat. Yeah, I expected that, so I don't. I didn't think there would be much money, but definitely the help of a staff person and their time is very valuable. In my experience, I've had to do quite a bit with very little, so I'm comfortable with that.
All right. Well, we're all trying to do that right now.
Yes. Yep.
You have any other questions?
I think that's all.
All right, well, I want to thank you again for coming in, spending some time with us. We'll let you know the results just as soon as we can.
Great, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So the next one will be Charlotte Winnen, for those who want to do a little last-minute reviewing.
Good evening.
Ms. Winnen,
Yes.
thank you for coming in tonight. And let's see, it's Charlotte.
Yes, Shar is fine.
Want to just say how happy we are that that you and others have opted to apply for the commission. We're excited about it, and so it's great that we have some great people coming in with some interest. The format that we're using tonight is that we have 5 questions that we're asking of all applicants.
Okay.
And Mr. Antonin is asking one of the questions, but just the 4 council members will actually be doing the voting. Mr. Nephew has a sister who is an applicant. And I didn't say this, I was saying close relative before, but no. Anyway, it's his sister. And so anyway, he wanted to sit it out to make sure that he didn't have a tainted view.
Okay.
So just the 4 council members will be voting, but Mr. Antonin will be asking that 5th question.
Okay.
And when we get to the end, if you have any questions that you want to ask of us, we'll allow you to do that.
And I do.
All right, very good. First question is by Mr. Antonin.
Thank you. Please explain any background and/or experience that you may have had in any of the following areas: public housing, civil rights, veterans issues, education, employment, or social work.
My background is in education and training and organizational development. So I have had experience in those areas. Civil rights, I lived through the civil rights movement and found it very interesting when I was substitute teaching in Milwaukee during the race riots. So I guess I have firsthand experience with some of the dynamics of what can take place. But that is the extent of my area in civil rights.
Okay.
Somewhat related, if you could give an example or two on what training or life experiences do you feel that you have that would be beneficial if you are appointed to serve on the Human Rights Commission?
One of the things that I have done as an organizational development specialist in a Fortune 100 company is to do a lot of facilitation. And we're facilitating not only supervisors and managers, anything from strategic planning all the way through to working with individuals who are being outsourced because of job displacement. Also, I have worked with teams of people and have also taught courses, developed curriculum. I believe that some of the skills that I bring include very good facilitation skills, listening, interviewing, a lot of data analysis. I worked with a retention committee on trying to identify how to retain good workers within the corporation. And as part of that, developed the focus questions, part of the committee that developed the focus group questions, led some of the focus groups, and then analyzed the data that we received from all of the focus groups, and then presented it to upper management. So I've had quite an extensive variety of issues working in the corporate world.
What do you think would be the major challenges in reestablishing the Human Rights Commission in Maplewood?
I believe some of the major challenges would be understanding what the issues are within the city of Maplewood, and identifying what those issues are and what is the relationship, what type of resources the council has, identifying that, and being able to then develop a plan of action on what the committee cannot do and what the limits and scope of the committee is.
We're all obsessed with the sound in here. There's a hissing noise.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear that in the background.
So we're just trying to figure out what it is.
Am I too close, maybe, to it?
No,
Yeah,
not you.
somehow that doesn't look like it was left in the best. There we go. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So she's obviously skilled in adjusting the microphone. So, the next question.
That's it. John.
Just yank it out of there.
That'll improve it.
All right, so let's get focused here. As a commissioner, you could be involved in facilitating issues that may arise between individuals and/or businesses in the community regarding housing, employment, public accommodations, and/or services. What experience and skills qualify you to perform this task?
Well, I have formal training in facilitation. I also have formal training in interviewing. And I've also have been involved in employee supervisor management type issues, interviewing both the supervisor and the employee about the issues, and then putting together a summary and presenting that to the HR person involved. So I have done some of that type of work. I'm very good at asking astute questions and listening. I think it's very important to listen to what is being said, to clarify, so that you have an understanding of what the person is trying to express in maybe their frustration or their anger, and then being able to present that information in a non-judgmental way so that information can be looked at, all sides of the issue can be explored, so that you can come up with a conclusion or an idea of what's really taking place within the situation.
Thank you.
Well, as you might expect, the last question still has to do with your job experience.
Okay.
And life experience, but try to broaden it out just a little. Based on your life experience and your understanding of the mission of this commission, if you had the opportunity to set one goal or major program for the Human Rights Commission, what would it be?
That's a good question.
I wish I'd written it, but I didn't.
One goal for the Human Rights Commission, I think it would be a very good goal to identify what the most critical issues are for the Commission to be addressing. As far as life experiences are concerned in this area, I think I have a passion for employment and justice in employment, particularly working with older individuals, being able to find employment after being downsized, outplaced. I think that's one of my areas of passion. And education and training, having done some substitute teaching in the area after being out of the public schools for many years, I'm finding some disconnects between what I was taught and what we're teaching currently to our teachers and what I'm seeing taking place in the school systems. And so I'm also very interested in that area as well.
Thank you.
That's the end of the 5 organized questions. Council have any follow-ups that come to mind? You said you had some questions for us?